2. Again, the Jazz have played well in the first quarters. It's been the second quarter that's been their nightmare. Okur guarding Duncan. Tim Duncan off the glass.
And even though he knocked that jumper in, that's exactly what Utah needs to make him do. Shoot the jump shot versus drive it into the paint where he's a great finisher.
The Spurs saying after the first 2 games, we haven't done anything. All we did was hold serve on our home floor. Okur rushed it on the alley-oop attempt. Parker kicks it back out. Meanwhile, the Jazz, yes, Carlos Boozer, he says, we proved we can score against this team. We have not proved we can stop them.
Well, they have not. It's going to be a challenge, but I like the adjustment made by Jerry Sloan as the Spurs turn the basketball over. Derek Fisher guarding Tony Parker, and they're collapsing defensively, looking to help him a great deal.
Jazz did force 24 turnovers in game 2. Fisher to the basket and can't get it to fall. He continues to struggle. Now 2 of 17 from the field in the series. Finley. And the Jazz will get it back. Jerry Sloan was not happy after game 1. Felt his team was intimidated a bit. Says they just have to compete, have to play harder. Sometimes he feels it's as simple as that, but there's more adjustments to be made.
And one thing you realize with a young basketball team, they're in over their head. It takes them a couple of games to regroup. I remember as a rookie playing the Boston Celtics, it took us 2 games to understand just what we were in.
Okur misses. Ball knocked out of bounds. And the Jazz get a new 24. Mehmet Okur, their 3rd leading scorer, has had an all-star season, but he's been struggling. What's been the problem?
I just don't like his first shot. The lob, I think you've got to get a better quality first couple shots than he just did here, especially when you're struggling right off the bat.
And a quick foul call on Bruce Bowen. How the game is officiated is also critical. Spurs so good defensively, though a team that doesn't foul all that much. You see Okur's numbers really struggling, to say the least, from the field.
The important thing for me with Mehmet Okur is setting solid screens. He's a great pick and pop guy. So if he sets solid screens on the ball, he's going to be able to step into rhythm jump shots. He has to remain confident, though.
Bob Delaney checking with the game clock and the shot clock. Delaney, one of the experienced crew members. He's in his 20th year. Eddie F. Rush in his 21st. And Monty McCutcheon, one of the better years, Eddie F. Rush. And Monty McCutcheon, one of the better young officials in the game, in his 13th year. We've seen a lot in the playoffs in both the East and the West. So let them play a little bit more. The games have been pretty physical.
I think they've been well officiated. I like the level of contact that's being allowed without it being, overtly physical.
I really like the idea of allowing games to be won on the basketball floor, not bailing guys out. You have to make big-time plays in order to get wins.
And a blocking foul called on Williams. Parker getting in the paint, and Darren Williams is first.
But what I like is Utah's transition defense. Less seams for Parker to get it to the basket. Here Williams moving his feet, but there's Boozer, first big back, to plug the lane up so he can't get all the way to the basket.
And that's really something that the Spurs do so effectively with Oberto helping on the transition, stopping Darren Williams.
Eddie F. Rush says the ball deflected by the Jazz, says Parker went to the basket. Greg Popovich wanting a foul call there. Letting off Delaney already know what he thinks. The Spurs offense, you can't get much more efficient in a playoff series than they've been in the first 2 games. Shooting 55% from the field. That's really unheard of, Jeff, in the postseason.
But they've gotten so much at the basket and then wide open threes. You've got to take something away from such a good offensive team.
Parker, nice feed to Duncan. Those two once again hooking up.
The reason why they shoot so well, they're so efficient at whatever you decide to take away, they have answers for it. Post play, double team, find the guys, unselfish play, pick and roll, they continue to pick you apart.
Williams fires up. Shot won't go. Williams being guarded by Bruce Bowen. Bowen with another tough assignment. Something he relishes. Parker. Tony Parker off to a good start. 6 straight points by the Spurs.
And you see what Tony Parker did. He used Mehmet Okur as a screener for his own guys. Step behind all the defenders and then knock down a jump shot. Darren Williams has to come back after he goes underneath.
Okur, that's a 2-pointer. And Okur misses once again. Mehmet Okur unable to get things going so far in the series. He's been practicing, kept shooting. As Parker knocks down another.
Well, Utah's decided that they're going to go under every high pick and roll. He's gone under twice, knocked down 2 jump shots. That's a good answer by Tony Parker.
Here's what I love with Tony Parker, the adjustment. Game 1, they made him a scorer. Game 2, they made him a facilitator. And now they're back to going underneath the screen and roll, and he is being aggressive on the offensive end.
Boozer. And can't get it to fall. That's 7 straight misses now by the Jazz. Duncan inadvertently poked in the eye. Okor called for his first foul. Not to start, Jerry Sloan, and certainly this crowd wanted. Okor just trying to go for the ball. Inadvertent.
And there's no better feeling being a point guard than knowing that they're going underneath the screen and roll, which means the defender is going below the screen. You can get any shot you want anytime you run a pick and roll, and Tony Parker is aware of it.
Duncan single coverage. And Okor picks up his second foul.
But I just don't like that individual defense by Mehmet Okor. You've got one. You totally body up and crowd Tim Duncan. So when he swings the ball by him, as we see here, it's going to be contact. And it's going to be a foul. That's an obvious foul. I think he's got to cushion him more and then move his feet.
So, of course, sits down with the 2 fouls. Jaron Collins, who's played all of 4 minutes so far in this series, but a good, solid defensive backup. He's now on Duncan. Finley for 3. And Williams gets a running start. Darren Williams to the basket. Oh, pretty move. The second-year point guard, averaging 30 a game through the first 2 games of this series. Parker again, open shot. And Boozer hauls in the rebound. Williams, nice pass. Boozer inside, left-handed. Duncan, quick outlet. During the regular season, the Jazz were 31-10 on their home floor, tied for the 3rd best record in the NBA. Parker, the leaner. Oh, tough shot from Tony Parker. He's off to a terrific start with 6 points.
And he's able to establish a rhythm because of the way that they initially guarded him. So now he feels extremely comfortable and confident with his offensive game.
Williams on the fake. And a whistle. They'll go down the other way. Jazz 2 for 11 to start. Duncan a little shaken up after the contact. He's taken a couple of hits already. And getting some help from his teammates. Let's take a peek at what happened. Greg Popovich obviously a little concerned. Ooh, the elbow from Collins. And we'll have our first timeout. So Duncan's shaken up. He's already been poked in the eye and elbow to the head. Tony Parker been superb.
Oh, pick and roll basketball. Darren Williams goes beneath the pick. Tony Parker able to step into a rhythm jump shot. It is easy basketball, and Tony Parker has established a rhythm and feel like he can get any shot he wants. We'll be back.
Casual, maybe a little intimidated, but he's looking forward to seeing how his team responds tonight.
The respect that our players have for their team, number one, can cause you a little bit of problem, but you know, your competitive nature will eventually come out in somewhere along the line when you're on the ropes and you know you don't have anywhere else to go. Maybe that's something that you can learn, and hopefully we will, because tonight is a huge game for us to try to get back in this thing a little bit and see where we are. But you can't make people nasty. You can't teach that. You can teach it, but I'm not sure you can make guys nasty.
I think he wants them nasty right now. They're down by 9.
The problem is, as a young basketball team, you think we're headed home, everything is going to be all right. No, you have to make it all right. You have to make adjustments and come out ready to play basketball.
Ginobili already off the bench, knocking down that three-pointer. Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili have been pretty unstoppable so far in this series. Shot clock down to 5. Parker, a rare three, blocked by Williams, got a hand on it, and a 24-second violation, Jazz ball. Well, Jeff, you've said this throughout this whole series. It's plain and simple, and they only have 4 points, but it's still defensively is where they're going to turn this around.
What people don't realize is it's a lot easier to guard just one guy off the pick and roll, like if it was just Tony Parker. But they also have Ginobili coming in off the bench, so they've got a couple guys that can put it on the floor at any time and get in the paint and create.
Williams, pass inside to Collins, and Collins gets it and a foul. Tim Duncan called for his first, and Collins getting the early duty because of Okur's foul trouble, able to respond. Collins' first points of the series.
And with Jerry Sloan, any offense from Collins is a bonus. You have to be excited about the offensive rebound, the putback, and then a crucial foul on Tim Duncan.
That's only his second field goal of the entire playoffs. Collins is 6th year out of Stanford. His brother, Jason, of course, his twin brother, plays for the New Jersey Nets. He's just a spot player now. Pretty important spot for the young man. Ginobili. Fisher in pursuit. Boozer fighting for the rebound. I think the crowd wanted a call. And most of the crowd wearing their true blue shirts. Inside is Boozer. Pretty play.
Boozer usually goes to his right shoulder into the middle on the right block. That time he countered with the quick spin baseline and a great finish on the other side of the rim.
I like the fact that that move was quick, decisive, and it put pressure on Tim Duncan to either foul or get away.
And a foul away from the ball. This is going to go against Collins. He picks up his first. Let's take a look at Carlos Boozer.
Gets the basketball in great position, then just a sharp move to the basket, using the basket as a shield, eliminating the shot blocking ability of Tim Duncan.
He's been their leading scorer and rebounder this year. His best season, his first All-Star bid, putting up some terrific numbers in the playoffs. Duncan taking his time. Shot clock at 5. Nice spin move. And Karolinko, loose ball foul. That could be Duncan's second. Yes, it is. Tim Duncan with 2 quick personals, and he'll have to come out.
It's good defense by Collins. Forces Tim Duncan to be a big-time scorer underneath, a shot blocker, not to the rim area. And then guys collapsing, gang rebounding. Tim Duncan over the back. You see 3 Jazz guys going up for the board. Duncan picking up his second foul.
Pass inside. Boozer stripped by Ginobili, but it gets to Karolinko. Here's Williams. And Alberto the rebound. Body's starting to fly all over the place. Robert Horry and Alberto now up front, along with Bowen. Bowen hit a bunch of threes last game, knocks down that one down. He's hit some very big shots throughout these playoffs.
And again, it all started with a pick and roll. Rolled to the rim, 2 big guys collapsed. Horry, great extra pass to Bowen in the corner.
They're one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league, as Williams able to connect. Second field goal for Darren Williams.
And a solid screen that time by Derek Fisher, getting Williams open. Fisher talked about being physical and looking to be aggressive to start this ball game.
Ginobili. Bowen, nice fake. 2-pointer. And Bruce Bowen, 2 for 2.
But Carlos Boozer's got to do a better job in his show on the pick and roll. It's very flat, so it allows Ginobili just to turn the corner, and then they have to suck in and help off the corner.
Karolinko can't get it to fall. Here come the Spurs up by 7. Just under 3 minutes remaining here in the first. Horry. And the ball was kicked. And we'll take another timeout. San Antonio already won some big road games in these playoffs, beating Denver twice, beating Phoenix twice. Right now, a 7th period. They at Salt Lake City, but so far not the result they wanted, down by 7. Right now, let's bring in our sideline reporters for tonight. Start with Lisa Salters.
Well, Mike, Carlos Boozer told me that the Jazz had what ended up being an informal players-only meeting after yesterday's practice. He said they sat around in the locker room and watched DVDs of games 1 and 2. And he said with every play we watched, it came down to the same thing, our defense. He said the Spurs are not going to hit 13 threes. At least we hope they don't do that again. So we've got to protect our paint, and it appears so far that they're trying to be true to that. They're content to have Tony Parker hit that outside shot, but they do not want him or anyone else driving and kicking. Now with more on the Spurs, I've sent it over to Michelle Tafoya.
Lisa, the Spurs gave up 31 points off 23 turnovers in Game 2, and they overcame that only because they shot so well. Greg Popovich told me before the game, if we continue to turn it over like that, we're going to have, quote, big problems. So taking care of the ball tonight, paramount for the Spurs so far, just 2 turnovers, and they've allowed no scoring off of that.
Well, Michelle, they got rebounded the 10-3 as Ginobili's high shot won't go. Boozer the rebound. And the Jazz are shooting just 29% from the field to start. Matt Harpring and Paul Millsap, also Gordon Giricek, part of the bench for Utah's in as Ginobili picks up his first foul. The bench needs to be productive for Utah. It's been a big part all season, not so much in this series.
And that's why I like that cut by Harpring right there. He is the best cutter in the league, created all the contact on Bowen, got Bowen to have to get the foul, sit down, bring a lesser defender than Brent Berry in the game.
Meanwhile, Bowen sits with 2 fouls. So he picked up his second. That was not on Ginobili. Giricek throws it, but right to Alberto, and that's the Jazz first turnover. Parker's just had his way. He's been able to get anywhere he wants. He's got a mismatch now with Millsap, the rookie, guarding him. Ginobili kicks it out. Barry for 3. Barry hit some big threes the other night. Ginobili with the save. Are they going to call a loose ball foul? Yep, Carlos Boozer. And that's Boozer's first.
And that's just pure hustle by Ginobili, not giving up on the plate, chasing down a second shot opportunity, wanting the basketball more than Carlos Boozer in that situation. Boozer comes up with the foul, and Ginobili going to the line for free throw.
Manu Ginobili's actually played better on the road this year. He's one of those players. He's on the road. He is a villain because he's always falling all over the floor. He's also making big baskets against the home team.
There are certain guys that just enjoy going into another building as Ginobili misses the foul shot and upsetting the fans.
Reminder, NBA calendar, TNT tomorrow. Cleveland and Detroit, Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. It shifts to Cleveland. Coverage begins at 8. ESPN Monday, Game 4 this series from Salt Lake City. Coverage begins at 8. And then ABC next Sunday. Perhaps a Game 7 of this series from San Antonio. But certainly the Jazz have a lot of work to do if they want to force an eventual Game 7. Fisher inside. Millsap lost the handle. Boozer right there. I think Horry got a piece of it, but still went in. 6 points for Boozer. Jock Vaughn has come in to give Parker a breather. Both teams going to their benches early. Ball deflected by Giricek. Little early spark from the Jazz bench.
Millsap moved his feet much better than Boozer has been in defending that pick and roll and corralled Ginobili.
Giricek on the drive. Nice pass. And a foul as Harpring got hit. He'll go to the line for 2.
I really like this unit that Jerry Sloan has in the ball game right now. Not only the great cutting of Matt Harpring, but the pressure put on the defense by Fisher. Also, Giricek, you have Millsap, a high energy, second opportunities, rebound the guy, and then Boozer, his post presence.
And here's Matt Harpring. In his 9th year in the league, Harpring has played for 4 different NBA teams for Orlando, Cleveland, Philadelphia, Utah. You see he had his number 15 jersey retired by Georgia Tech. It wasn't so easy for him. He played high school ball with Bobby Cremins, the coach of Georgia Tech, with his son. Cremins came to see a game, and he told Harpring's dad, sorry, your son's not ACC caliber. But he got better as the season went on. An assistant coach told Cremins, go back and look at him again. He went back. They gave him a scholarship. Turned out pretty well. He had a great career at Tech. But he misses a couple of big free throws. Alberto spinning. A blocking foul. Derek Fisher.
From a referee standpoint, what I like so far is no flops are being rewarded. Everybody who's snapping their head back and diving, trying to get a call, isn't being rewarded. I hope that continues on through the playoffs and then into next regular season.
Mark, did you ever think he would say, from a referee standpoint,
I am so tired of all the flopping going on. You can't even tell who's getting hit. Varejao, at the end of that Detroit game, I have never seen somebody so blatantly try to get bailed out on a call.
Stop yelling at me.
Here's a guy. Here's a guy that, as a coach, would go, brilliant job of flopping. You get 3 stars for it.
Way to pick up that charge.
No, there's a difference between taking a hit and flopping your way to a call.
No, you're absolutely right. In fact, the league has looked into making it a violation, which is going to be tough to do, but it's a good idea as Boozer knocks down the shot.
I think there should be a scarlet list after every game that gets published in newspapers saying you're a flopper.
5-point game despite all the problems for the Jazz here in the first quarter. Ginobili, Barry spots up, hits a 3. That Barry, 3 big 3-pointers in game 2, and he gives San Antonio an 8-point lead.
As a defense, you have to be committed to doing multiple things. They have to be in the face of shooters. You have to be in a position where you can contest shots. Brent Barry, Mike Finley, you cannot give those guys airspace.
Giricek off the dribble. Robert Horry the rebound. And again, bodies all over the place. Millsap tried to poke it away. Vaughn pushing. Barry for 3. And Robert Horry, nice touch pass. Barry again had to rush it with the clock winding down. 1/10 of a second remaining. And that will end the first quarter.
People away from home.
Well, it's such a great feeling.
That's why I like hanging out with Jeff.
Ginobili knocks it out of Harpring's hand, but Harpring gets it right back with the help of Williams. Williams for 3. It's good.
Those plays right there can really turn around a game. Loose ball scrum, gets the ball very hard to get matched back up. Williams wide open and knocks it in.
Jazz back within 5. The second quarter has been the nightmare quarter for the Utah Jazz. They've outscored them in every other quarter combined as Jacques Vaughn knocks down that shot. But it's the second quarter that they've just been beaten badly.
And defensively, they really have stepped it up. You live with Jacques Vaughn shooting a fadeaway jump shot. They really are protecting their paint area. Now it's about offensively executing and continuing to be solid on the other end.
Giricek. He's been quiet in the series. Will knocks down the 2-pointer there.
You never get rattled when you talk about shooters struggling. Guys like Giricek, as Robert Horry picks up the offensive foul, and Mehmet Okur will eventually heat up.
You look at the second quarter, what's happened. They've only scored 16 and 17, while San Antonio scored 31 and 32. They've had trouble shooting the ball, and obviously they've had trouble stopping San Antonio. And of course, both those games on the road. Giricek, another. Gordon, Giricek, back-to-back jumpers.
Just good basketball. They're using Giricek in a motion offense, forcing Brent Barry to chase him down. Solid screens, getting him open.
And a foul down the other end. Giricek, who scored 6 points combined in the first 2 games, has 4 quick points here in the second quarter.
And the adjustment made by Popovich brings in Michael Finley because Brent Barry is being exploited right now on the defensive end. Giricek is getting too much space, and he is a jump shooter that you must close out to.
Giricek from Croatia. This is his 4th year with Utah. He's played for a couple of NBA teams. Good shooter off the bench. Jacques Vaughn. Not that time, and Duncan back in the game. Gets a new 24. Duncan doubled. That's a 3. Michael Finley from downtown.
How good is Tim Duncan? Finds Michael Finley on the opposite side of the double team. Just the recognition from the post position. That's awfully tough to do.
They're 4 of 10 from 3-point range. Again, hit 13 of them in game 2, which was a playoff record for the franchise. Okur back in. He picked up 2 quick fouls. Millsap with 4 on the shot clock. Okor the rebound. They're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the NBA. Led the league in second chance points. And that's their first offensive rebound tonight. Williams blocked by Duncan. Okor gets it back. Shot clock did not reset on the block. Williams won't go. We played 3 minutes here in the second. Ball looking for Orr. Finley another 3. Way off. Finley looking at Eddie Rush. He said, I got hit. No sympathy from the officials. Crowd trying to get into it. Their team trailing by 6 here in game 3. Spurs play. Of course, they're getting married July 7th on 07. We asked Tony Parker, is it tough to plan a wedding during the playoffs?
To be honest with you, I don't do that much, Eva does everything. I'm just, she's very good with that because she knows, it's the biggest time of the year for me. And she let me focus on basketball, and she does everything. She's the one who flew to Paris, and make sure everything is okay, and while I was playing, my playoff games. So that's good, she doesn't bother me too much. I'm only in charge of the music and the food, so I'm good,
I like when he says she doesn't bother me too much. Jiricek misses. Parker keeps it alive.
He is such a great competitor. He circled all the way from one side of the floor underneath the basket to get the tip in.
And he's got the Jazz back within 4. Duncan. Blocked by Okor. Excellent defense from Mehmet Okor.
And you talk about all the adjustments that the Jazz have to do in order to make this a series, but it's all about defensively getting stops. And that time Okor with a big block shot.
Jiricek way short on the 3-pointer at a good open look. Francisco Elson has come on for San Antonio. Duncan. Stripped by Williams. 3-on-2 for the Jazz. Jiricek hammered by Finley, and he'll shoot 2. Duncan felt he was fouled down the other end.
Well, for the first time in a long time, they're battling. Okor underneath, comes up, keeps the body away. Excellent defense, big block shot against Duncan. All of a sudden, the Spurs are not doing whatever they want on the offensive end. The Jazz are making them work, and it started with this unit that Jerry Sloan has inserted.
That wasn't the play he thought he was fouled on. It was the one after that, as Jiricek hits the first free throw. Gordon Jiricek, who played pro ball in Russia for a long time, was an all-star there. Misses on the second one, but a lane violation, so he'll get another chance.
And to go back to that block shot, what I liked about it was Okor blocked the shot with the hand closest to where Duncan was shooting. So many guys have to block their shot with their strong hand. On that occasion, Okor blocked it with his left hand.
Jiricek hits the second. That's where you get the foul call a lot.
Absolutely, because you're having to come across the shooter's body to block the shot.
And somewhere, Bill Russell is watching this game so excited about you making that point, Jeff.
Jiricek gets right up on Finley. Here's Duncan. Poked away by Okor. Here comes Williams to the basket. Knocked loose. Excellent defense that time from San Antonio.
You got to give Mehmet Okor a lot of credit. He is overmatched on the offensive end with Duncan on the post. But all that Jerry Sloan wants is for him to compete. The last 3 trips, he has done exactly that, making Duncan work.
And he's got 2 fouls. Playing aggressively, though. Parker gets in the paint. Or just outside and knocks down another.
There's a guy that feels he can get any shot he wants. If he has the basketball in his hands, he can get to his sweet spot and step into a jump.
Harprinch fell down just as Williams was releasing the pass. Parker already 8 points and 3 assists. Spurs have led by as many as 9. Parker threading the needle. But another foul. Millsap is second.
Tony Parker off the pick and roll, steps on Darren Williams' foot. And then you talk about step back. That's breaking an ankle right there. And Parker knocks down the jump shot. No one will ever know that it was a stepping on the foot. Old school Park move.
And again, San Antonio isn't just running one pick and roll. Utah's doing a good job on the first pick and roll. Then the second pick and roll, good job. They ran 3 separate pick and rolls on the last possession until they got the foul that they wanted.
They just wear you down. The shot clock winding down. Parker to the basket, and he draws the foul on Williams. And for Williams, that's his second.
And what that does is almost like a boxer, like Ali and Foreman. You're taking the body blows all fight long. Darren Williams running through screen and rolls, 3-4 screen and rolls against Tony Parker. It takes the legs from him on the offensive end.
They're in the rope-a-dope.
Did you call me a dope?
But they are hanging in here in the second quarter. As we said, they've been blown out. They've trailed at halftime of these two games by 18 in game 1 and by 17 in game 2. But despite those 2 free throws, they're only down 6. Parker in double figures. First player with 10. Harper puts it in and a foul. The question is it on Duncan? Finley's raising his hand. It's on Duncan, and that's number 3. And the Jazz getting their first standing ovation of the night.
You cannot allow Bruce Bowen to guard Matt Harper on the block. Flashes to the hoop, gets the basketball, excellent job of sealing, finishes over Tim Duncan, picking up his 3rd foul. Matt Harper balling, and they won football. Well, Matt Harper, a former teammate of mine when I played in Utah, he's a guy that really gets on your nerve when you play against him. Every day in practice, just gritty, gutty, gets after it, but he is a guy that leaves it on the floor.
His rookie year when he was in Orlando, he used to have guys come up to refs before the game and say, hey, watch that guy, please. He's always fouling me. And you got it in the guy's head before the opening tip-off. You're doing the right thing.
But he's a guy you would love as a teammate because he brings it every single night.
But another missed free throw. They're just 3 of 6 as we have a foul away from the ball.
Just
and that's on O'Core, and that's his 3rd, Jeff.
Just a tremendous after timeout play by the Spurs. Elston on the run to set a pick and roll, slipped it. Parker hit him on time and drew O'Core's 3rd foul.
O'Core once again having a rough game. I know they say Murphy's Law. Even Murphy had more luck than O'Core right now. And Elston will go to the free throw line.
And if you're Jerry Sloan and O'Core is coming to the bench, you're not worried about the shooting. You like his intensity on the defensive end. He has shown up ready to play tonight.
5:44 remaining. Francisco Elston getting some time with Duncan on the bench.
So many guys say, only way I can impact the game is by scoring or shooting. No, Mehmet O'Core has had an impact in this basketball game because of other things other than the thing he does extremely well, which is shooting. It's about the defensive end.
Well, you still got to make. You got to make. You got to do both. You got to have guys play at both ends of the floor. And O'Core's giving them great lift on the defensive end, but it's going to be hard for them to win games if they don't get enough perimeter shooting.
Garicek for 3. Gordon Garicek. 9 points here in game 3.
And he's listening to you. He's a guy that loves to come off screens. He's a catch-and-shoot guy, and he certainly has had an impact on this basketball game. Defensively, they are picking up the offensive foul on Elston.
And I know what you're going to say, Jeff. Go ahead.
Play on, flop. I just, those calls to me, I just don't like them.
Well, let's take a look.
Jumping into his path on the run. He didn't get hit that hard. Stand up and take a hit.
A key is when the player who commits the charge extends the arm. That time it didn't appear that way. But a smart play from Garicek to force the turnover.
Well, if you're Garicek, you have to try to find a way to help your teammate defending the pick and roll. That time got in the way of Elston.
Ball deflected by several players. Last touch by Harper. And the Spurs get it back. How important is it for the Jazz right now to make some kind of surge with Duncan on the bench?
Well, I think they're playing well. They just got to play more efficiently on offense right now. Their defense is intense, it's tied together, and it's effective right now.
Ginobili on the drive. Nice feed to Alberto.
How about the pass by Ginobili, exploding to the basket and behind the back, handing it off to Alberto.
Alberto is 13 for 16 from the field in this series. A lot of them layups, but he's played extremely well. Boozer short, Elson a rebound. 5-point San Antonio lead.
I'd love to look at the numbers of how many pick and rolls Greg Popovich has put Tony Parker in. He's doing a great job of making decisions.
Parker right on cue with a pretty pass, and Alberto, a great finisher.
Again, 3 separate pick and rolls. It was the third one that got Alberto the roll to the rim.
And I've seen Tony Parker play a lot of great basketball in his career, but this is the best that I've seen him play because of his decision-making right now, whether it be scoring or making plays.
Boozer left hand doesn't go, but he got a whistle. Elson picks up the personal. And Boozer will go to the line. 2 fouls on Elson. Duncan sitting on the bench with 3. See Boozer's numbers. This is his 3rd year in Utah. First couple, he had problems with injuries, but healthy this year and making that all-star team. And you love the way he uses that left hand so often, Jeff.
It is. When he can face up, he can attack guys to that left hand. And no matter how many times coaching staffs go over the fact that he's primarily a left-handed player, he still works his way back to the left hand.
And finally, Jazz knocked down a couple of free throws. Parker in the paint. And able to bank it in. Even with the ball almost knocked away.
Oh, really is the pressure. Darren Williams looking for the pick that time. The pick was not there. Tony Parker caught him turning his head and exploded to the paint area.
Parker again just having his way. Williams gets in the paint, and he draws the foul. So Darren Williams will shoot a couple. Elson picks up his 3rd foul. So Elson and Duncan each with 3. There you see Williams in game 2. Youngest ever to have the 25-10 in a conference finals game or a finals game. He had a terrific career at Illinois. Took him to the championship game. They lost in the finals. His first year rookie, solid year, but he has exploded, being one of the best point guards already in the NBA. He's having a terrific playoff as we've got a timeout. 3:20 remaining, 2nd quarter of game 3. Jazz still down by 7.
My.
Now there was a little right arm extension, but certainly not to knock him down.
You see, I really do believe referees need to study even more tape, just like teams do, to know who the floppers are. And if there are any questions, like Orius, never give him the benefit of the doubt. Never.
I will say this. The officials probably study more tape than anybody. I don't know if they look at the flopping per se, but they certainly look at tape every single game they have to go through.
Well, I disagree with Coach, and the reason why is because Boozer allowed Robert Horry to flop. Extending the right hand, gave reasonable doubt, and sent Robert Horry to the line.
Are we in a court of law? Reasonable doubt? Like, what are we talking about? It's a flop.
Spurs back up by 8 as we approach the 3-minute mark here in the 2nd. Karolinko back in. Shot clock down to 8. Boozer has it deflected to him. Tough shot from Boozer. And Horry the rebound.
And that time the Spurs went to a zone defense which caught the Jazz off guard and disrupted what they were trying to do offensively.
Here's Parker again. Gets inside. They wave it off. Tony Parker called for the offensive foul.
And Darren Williams that time a good job of moving his feet, staying in front of Tony Parker, taking the hit, no question about it. Wasn't playing it, but took the hit from Tony Parker. That's an offensive foul. Give credit to the defense.
Defensive man does not have to be stationary if the offensive man initiates the contact. That's the case according to the officials there. Williams for three. It's good. Darren Williams from downtown, and the Jazz back within 5.
Am I watching the same game you guys are? What? That was a block.
I don't think you've ever seen a call that you agreed with that went against you.
Robert Horry way off a brick, and Karolinko the rebound.
Quietly, Horry has really struggled so far offensively in this series as well.
He doesn't have a point. Boozer inside, puts it in. And it's back to 3.
And not having Tim Duncan on the floor forces someone else to make plays on the offensive end for the Spurs.
Ginobili. Oh, nice play from Ginobili. Williams with 11 points and 4 assists. And holds ball. I believe it's going to go against Parker. And that should put the Spurs in a penalty.
Good job of playing through their big guy. Boozer catching the basketball and then avoiding the contact, slashing to the hoop and finishing in traffic. What you need from Boozer, inside force, playing with the presence.
So Williams will go to the line. Williams, who was born in West Virginia, grew up in a blue-collar Dallas suburb. His mom was a college basketball player, West Liberty State. He says nobody critiques him harsher than his mom. And when she's at a game, you can hear her when you're playing. She's constantly yelling and screaming in support of her son. She taught him a lot about the game of basketball. And he's having just a wonderful playoff ride. Crowd gets on its feet. Ginobili won't go. And Boozer could not hold on.
On that initial catch by Ginobili, I still think Giricek's got to cushion him more. He's by him on the first dribble. He's right at the rim. And then if they help off the corner, that's where they're getting their corner three-point shots and the second shot. Too easy. Too much separation.
Parker sets it up.
And you make a great point. You have to know who you're defending. Give them man space because these are 2 guys that no one in the league can guard individually when they're clogging.
Or he keeps it alive. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Parker.
Excellent hustle from Darren Williams getting back into the picture. And Tony Parker is the guy that touched it before it went out of bounds.
Williams gets a big ovation. Strong play from the young man. He's only 22 years old in his first playoffs. And he has been putting on a show. Parker comes in for Boozer. Parker takes a seat.
When you take Darren Williams out of the ball game right now, you don't want your young point guard to pick up his 3rd foul before this half ends.
I've always felt that's overrated. I really have. Whether you get your 3rd foul with a minute to go in the second or in the first minute of the 3rd, I don't understand the difference.
I agree. That's why I was wondering every time you would take me out as a player.
Fisher lost it out of bounds.
I just said it was for that reason. I just didn't point you on the floor anymore. Big difference.
Bruce Bowen now having got something on the bench. Finley's going to come in with 45.4 seconds left. Of course, you see the difference when you play at home for the Utah Jazz. They were just obliterated in the second quarter of the first 2 games. They have done an excellent job here in the second quarter tonight.
And the difference is when you go into the locker room, you're not going in with your head down feeling like you've been beat up and abused. You're going in feeling like you have climbed back into this ball game and played with a purpose.
Ginobili for 3. Oh, Manu Ginobili from downtown. He's got 9 points.
They have great players who know how to stop the bleeding. Whether it's Duncan, Parker, or 2 times now it's been Ginobili with the floater in the lane and the spot of 3 points.
One of the best 6 men in the NBA, finished second in the voting behind Leandro Barbosa of the Phoenix Suns. Fisher, shot clock winding down. Fisher banks it in. They needed a bucket from Fisher. Final seconds of the half. Ginobili on the floater. Won't go. Millsap the rebound. And that will end the first half.
Guys on the floor to hold the fort down. And they did exactly that.
Well, the Jazz have had such huge uphills to climb in the third quarter of the first two. A little shorter, although Parker quickly makes it a 6-point game.
So for the first time in a long time, Tony Parker not coming off a pick and roll, but use him in a motion. Sets down screen, curls off, and finishes in traffic.
And a foul away from the ball. And we go against San Antonio. Alberto raises his hand, and that's his second. With Okur back on. Okur, he only played 10 minutes. Scoreless. He had 3 fouls. The Jazz desperately need him to get going. Boozer. Boozer's 6 for 10 from the field.
Good job of going at Tim Duncan. If he's on the floor with 3 fouls, force the issue. Posting up Boozer on the block, gets a shot uncontested.
Boozer with the steal, knocked it away from Alberto, who's holding his hand as he runs up the floor. Williams to the basket, right at Duncan. Can't get at the floor. Boozer with the tip-in.
But it's the penetration that set up the second shot. Williams all the way to the rim. Duncan avoids his 4th foul, but Boozer follows it up.
The Jazz have not led in this series after the first quarter. Spurs have led the whole second, third, and fourth quarters in the first 2 games. And they're within 2 as Boozer with the bump. And Boozer's going to pick up his 3rd foul. So Boozer and Okur with 3, Duncan with 3. And Alberto still holding that hand on that play. He's going to have to come out of the game as Robert Horry checks in.
You're really not worried about Boozer picking up his 3rd foul because he's guarding a guy that's not a threat on the block in Robert Horry. So you take away the possibility of picking up your 4th.
Duncan calling for it. Stripped by Williams. Here's Williams to the basket, draws the foul, blocked by Horry. Williams will shoot 2 as Tony Parker picks up the personal.
Jazz doing a great job defensively of disrupting what Tim Duncan is trying to do on the block. Not only the solid defense by Okur, but the guards getting in, digging, helping the defender.
Parker now with 3 personals. Mark, you played point guard in this league for a long time. Darren Williams has a chance to be a special player. Both of you guys have been raving about him.
He's a guy that's awfully fun to watch. He is going to be a superstar in this league for a long time to come. And the thing I love about him, he's able to change gears, keeps you off balance, lulls you to sleep, and all of a sudden he's gone into a tremendous amount of confidence.
He plays with a real swagger.
And I like that.
And the Jazz have come back from 9 down to tie the game. Everybody on their feet here in Utah. Duncan, oh, what a play and a foul. Perfect pass, and Duncan puts it in.
What you try to teach a team offensively is to read defense. There, Okur cheated the cross screen right here, trying to beat Duncan to the low post. Duncan recognizes, realizes, and Bowen throws it over the top for the lob.
And if you know a guy's going to cheat the screen, you have to be in a position to help. Derek Fisher's too small to guard Duncan. Another guard should have been in the paint area helping Fisher.
And Duncan nails the free throw. It's back to a 3-point Spurs lead. Alberto being attended to by the medical staff of the Spurs. Williams to the basket again.
And that's what I'm talking about. Lulling you to sleep. Coming up at a certain pace. Tony Parker relaxes. Darren Williams the blow by. Exceptional at changing gears.
Bowen looking for Duncan. Ball deflected out of bounds. Williams has been a big scorer in this series. 34 in game 1, 26 in game 2. He really is a scoring point guard, and his team needs him to score.
They don't need Darren Williams to just be out there running the offense. He is too good of a scorer to just be out there being a maestro. He has to put pressure on the Spurs defense.
Parker, that's a 2. He is so elevated his game in the past couple of years.
The reason why is because he's become a better jump shooter. Everything else he had, but when he had the ability to knock down shots, it made him unguardable.
He reconstructed his shot a couple of years ago, and he has been perfect. Okur lost it. And the nightmare continues for Mehmet Okur. Parker. Not that time. Williams on the drive, gets inside, swatted out of bounds by Ori.
With all the talk about Robert Ory's big shots, people have not really noticed how good a defender he is, both team defense and individual. There, coming over in transition and getting a late block before Williams can get it up at the rim.
Part of 6 NBA championships with 3 different teams, Robert Ory, with the Spurs, the Lakers, and the Rockets. Williams for 3. It's good. Tie game.
I love this young basketball player, Darren Williams. He feels like he's the best player on the floor. Tim Duncan's out there, Parker's out there, Ginobili will be out there, but Darren Williams feels like he is the best out there, but Duncan says, I'm still on the floor, young fella.
Duncan comes right back to quiet the crowd momentarily. Bowen, one of the best perimeter defenders guarding Williams. Pass inside, and Karolinko fouled by Finley.
And that's a great read by Derek Fisher. Just like we saw San Antonio go against the cheat of the cross screen, here we have Karolinko cross screening for Boozer. Finley's over there in support of the cross screen. Fisher rips it across court on the pass, and Karolinko now tries to get off the snide and get on the scoreboard with 2 free throws.
Karolinko, a former All-Star, once led the NBA in block shots. He's been All-NBA defense 3 times in his career. Had a rough season this year. Subpar for him. Struggled early in the Houston series and played great against Golden State. Struggled a bit here in this series. He's one of the most versatile players in the NBA when he's on his game.
And he's a guy that should never struggle, and the reason why is because he's able to do too many things on the floor. If he's not scoring, he can still impact the game in so many different ways.
Chance of defense. Parker rolls off, Boozer the rebound. The Jazz have not led in the second half in this series. Boozer, tough shot, it's good, and there's their first second half lead.
How about the recognition? Robert Ory guarding Boozer. Darren Williams calls for a post-up play with Boozer, and he takes advantage of the mismatch.
Right back to Duncan. Okur playing with 3 fouls. Ball knocked loose. Here come the Jazz. Fisher for 3. Won't go. And Finley the rebound. This place ready to explode if that one went down. And Parker sets it up. Knocked away by Williams. Ball still loose. Duncan has it, and he calls timeout. The Jazz defense getting it done. All-Star, led the team in scoring and rebounding, and this is his first playoffs, and he has been magnificent.
Isn't Google Earth amazing? I'm serious. Where did this technology come from?
Duncan banks it in. Speaking of amazing, and the Spurs back up by 1.
I'd like to take a look at the frequent flyer points for Boozer.
Meanwhile, Williams has been sensational here in the 3rd quarter. Fisher with 6 on the shot clock. Boozer falling away. Oh, tough shot from Carlos Boozer.
That's a tough shot. If you're Robert Ory, you did everything was asked of you. Force him into a tough fadeaway shot, but Boozer has a rhythm right now.
Inside, Parker. Williams either lost his footing or lost his focus, and Parker with an easy 2.
And there's no reason to be denying Tony Parker to the wing. You got to protect the paint. Great back cut, great feed by Duncan.
They approach the midway point here in the 3rd. Boozer calling for it again, and a foul down low. Ginobili overly aggressive on his post defense against Karolinko. Picks up his first. And let's go over to Michelle Tafoya.
All right, first, Fabricio Alberto sprained his right thumb. They've taped it up. He is expected to come back and play. Greg Popovich telling his team in the tunnel this last time out, what's going on out there is what we expected. They're pushing, they're holding, they're shoving. Don't depend on the crew, meaning the officials. Work through it. There's plenty of basketball left. You got a little off kilter those last 2 sessions, Mike.
The Jazz playing desperate ball, Michelle. They certainly don't want to fall behind 3-0. Fisher for 3. Bang! A 2-point lead for Utah. And Fisher, who's been struggling all series, with an important bucket. Duncan against Collins. Offensive foul. That's his 4th.
And Jerry Sloan can afford to have Collins on the floor, limited offensively, but brings it on the defensive end. Stepping in front of Tim Duncan, taking the offensive foul. He can do it because they have established a rhythm on the offensive end, but Collins giving everything he has in the tank, guarding Duncan.
And Collins only 4 minutes in the first 2 games combined, having to play with O'Court struggling and in foul trouble. And Bowen with the foul. Duncan will sit for a while with 4 personals. Bowen picks up his 3rd.
Bowen battling against Darren Williams. Stepped on his foot. Bowen getting called with the foul.
And they're in the penalty with 5:37 remaining here in the 3rd. One of the things they talked about, the Jazz, yesterday, we need to get to the free throw line more. They'll have their opportunity in the penalty early.
Well, they led the league in free throws attempted per game this year and rebounds. They've got to have those 2 staples every night.
They drew more fouls than anybody. They're a physical team. They also commit more than anybody. And they're playing physical basketball right now.
What you don't want to do if you're the Jazz is take a deep breath. You want to keep the foot on the gas pedal, continue to execute on both ends, and don't take a deep breath just because Duncan is on the bench.
Derek Fisher and Bob Delaney, a couple of veterans discussing that call, which went against Fisher, his 2nd. 3rd team foul on the Jazz. So with Duncan out, Alberto comes back in with that bump that's been bothering him. And Robert Ory playing big minutes. Ginobili trying to get Fisher up. Excellent ball denial line by Fisher, and then he commits the foul. Well, that's a tough call. 3 on Fisher, 4th team foul. And Gordon Girachek's going to come in.
That is a tough call, but it's the pressure that Ginobili puts on you when you are trying to guard him defensively. Derek Fisher has a case, but Ginobili is a guy that forces the issue with the basketball in his hand.
And he just got hit with a delay of game warning. That doesn't mean anything now, but you get a 2nd and it's a technical foul. You didn't leave the court quickly enough. That could be huge again in a game that might be decided by a point or 2. Bowen misses the 3. Boozer the rebound. Boozer calling for it, guarded by Ory. Here's the double. Williams for 3. Won't go. And boy, players falling all over the floor. And a late whistle. I think it's going to go against Alberto as he looked to bump Collins. Alberto bumping into Collins, and they'll go back to the free throw line.
And it's the hustle of Collins not giving up on the play. Chasing down another 2nd shot opportunity. That type of hustle and intangible play becomes contagious. So everybody does it. It started with the bench. Collins chasing down the loose ball. The push in the back by Alberto gets caught, and Collins goes to the line.
Again, Collins playing a minor role for this team this year. Knocks it down. Former 2nd round pick. Getting some minutes with the foul trouble. He's been injured a lot in the first couple of years in the NBA. This is his 6th season. Kind of held him back a bit. Knocks down 2 free throws, and the Jazz by 6. A 12-point turnaround here in this third quarter. Parker. Horry steps back. And Robert Horry with his first three-pointer of this series.
And I thought Williams had Parker contained very well. Boozer, I think, overhelped on that situation. And again, left them open in the corner, which is the easiest three-point shot in the league.
It's actually Horry's first field goal of the series. Coming up on 4 minutes remaining in the third. Williams inside the Boozer, and he lost it out of bounds. Jerry Sloan has to be happy the way his team has reacted coming home, playing the physical basketball that you saw in the first round, Jeff, when your Houston Rockets faced them.
Happy and Jerry Sloan don't go hand in hand. Coming from a known optimist like myself, I'm sure that really bothers him.
Alberto pushed off Kirilenko, and more free throws for the Utah Jazz. 4 on Alberto.
You got to know the penalty situation right there. You've got to back off a little bit on the offensive board when you're in the penalty. You cannot be giving up just free throws time and time again.
And there you see number of players with some foul difficulty. This will be the 9th and 10th free throw attempt of the quarter for the Utah Jazz. As we remind you, TNT tomorrow. It's the Pistons and the Cavs from Cleveland. Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Detroit leading 2-0. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern. And ESPN Monday, Game 4 from Salt Lake City of this series. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern. And then next Sunday, if there's a Game 7 in this series, Boozer won't go. Rebound, Collins blocked by Elson. Boozer the save. Giricek nearly throws it away. Saved by Williams. Over to Kirilenko. Here comes Giricek. Puts it up. Won't go. And Elson a rebound. The fans oohing and eyeing on every pass and deflection on every shot.
And a lot of coaches would be upset with the play, but if you're Jerry Sloan, you have to be excited because now your guys are playing committed and playing with the fire.
Horry. Collins the rebound. Nice impact from Jaron Collins off the bench. Boozer inside, puts it in.
When you play with force, you can overcome mistakes. Mental errors and mistakes, you can overcome them when you play with the passion, and the Jazz are doing exactly that.
Boozer has 10 here in the third. Parker gets inside. I don't know if Kirilenko blocked it or the bottom of the backboard. And Williams says, let's reset. This young point guard plays with a lot of poise. Giricek attacks, puts it in. This is the largest lead of the series for the Utah Jazz.
How about the play that Jerry Sloan is getting from Giricek? Derek Fisher struggling from the field. Giricek inserted, has played inspired ball, not only defensively, but he is a shot maker.
Ginobili nearly loses it. Parker, a rare three. Oh, he was hitting threes now. That is not Parker's strength. And he's got 21, 9 of them here in the third. He was 2 for 12 from downtown in the playoffs before hitting that three-pointer. Collins feeling confident. Oh!
Collins with the rhythm jump shot, but he's earned the right to shoot that. You're wide open, you're working your tail off, knock down the jump shot. Jerry Sloan is getting results from his bench.
Ginobili. Shot won't go, but a foul on Giricek. And Ginobili will shoot 2 with 1:20 remaining here in the third. And we'll take a timeout. So far tonight. Meanwhile, Ginobili will go to the line for 2. Brent Barry set the check in for San Antonio. Jeff, what's been the biggest difference you've seen from Utah tonight as opposed to the first 2 games?
Well, I think they've taken Duncan out of the game, whether it's his foul trouble or forcing him into 6 turnovers. They've limited one of the big 3. And I think that's critical. You can't have all 3 of those guys, Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan, all being efficient on the same night and win the game. You just can't do it.
Of those 6 turnovers, 2 of them because of offensive fouls. And that's why he's sitting. He has 4 total. 6-point game. Kirilenko being guarded by Ginobili. There's Millsap, the impressive rookie from Louisiana Tech. He's had some nice playoff minutes. Millsap gets it to Collins. Barry pokes it away. Good defense from Brent Barry.
I don't like the play getting the ball to Millsap on the block. Put Darren Williams in pick and roll situation.
Parker, great move, couldn't finish. And Williams slows it down.
This is a very limited offensive team that Utah has on the floor right now.
Williams to the basket. Inside, a pass. And Paul Millsap.
So instead of Millsap on the block, Darren Williams creates the offense for him. The breakdown on the perimeter and then delivers him the basketball in a position to score.
Crowd again getting on its feet. Parker. Shot clock at 3. Ginobili can't get it to fall. And the Jazz will get it back to hold it for the final shot of the 3rd.
And you say, what should they run? Put the ball in their best player's hands, Darren Williams, and then play around him. Whether it's shot for him or he will create offense for someone else.
Harper will come in. And Collins, huge ovation. How about Collins? 7 total points in the entire playoffs before tonight. He's got 7 off the bench here in game 3. Shot clock is off. Williams has it deflected, gets it back. Won't go. And that will end the 3rd. Guys on the boy, this young man, he's only 6'8", maybe. But he plays big for a rookie. There's the double on Duncan. And he stepped out of bounds. Good defense from Matt Harper.
It's just solid defense by the Jazz, and it started once again with Okoro on the block defending Duncan, forcing him to get rid of the basketball, and other guys doing multiple things. The help comes quick, forcing Barry out of bounds.
And left foot clearly touching the baseline. Fisher, that's a 2. Derek Fisher, 10-point lead for the Jazz. And this their largest lead of the series. Duncan draws the foul. It's going to be on the floor. Duncan and Okoro having words. Fisher also. Bob Delaney quickly gets in. And separates. Delaney's used to that, a former New Jersey State Trooper. This is the first time we've seen officials have to do this. It's a series, again, hard fought with so much respect between the two teams.
And if you're Jerry Sloan, you like that. The first time your team is showing some aggressiveness, some passion. Now it's happened when they're up 10, but this is a good sign if you're Sloan.
3rd foul on Millsap. Barry way downtown and way off the mark. This crowd's so fired up. They didn't see a playoff game for 3 years. Jazz missing the postseason the last 3 years. And no one expected them to be here that long. Giricek throws it away. No one expected them to be in the Western Conference Finals. They were 51-31 during the regular season. Did not have home court in the first round, but won a game 7 in Houston. Then beat Golden State in 5. And fighting now with the San Antonio Spurs. Barry, that's a 2. In and out. Duncan the rebound. And Banks on the follow.
you're the Jazz, you can't relax. This is a team that's not going to panic. They're going to chip away and grind away and put themselves in a position to win. You have to continue to execute on both ends.
Williams and Boozer set to check in now for Utah at the next whistle. Vaughn, Millsap! Ginobili can't hit the three.
Exceptional play from the bench guys for the Utah Jazz. Top to bottom, they have gotten it done.
Garachek to the basket. Inside, Millsap again. Packs it in. Timeout, San Antonio. Situations like this over the years.
Well, that's a veteran basketball team that understands it's a lot of ball game left. But how about the Jazz? Taking the message because energy was the solution.
Ooh, very nice.
Nice play on words. Very nice. For a St. John's graduate, I might add.
Meanwhile, Okor makes Duncan take a bad shot.
Chris Mullen will be proud listening in Oakland.
Boozer and Williams have been superb. Boozer too strong, and Alberto the rebound. Duncan, good entry pass, and Okor called for the foul. And Ahmed Okor picks up his fourth.
I'll tell you what, though, you can't say enough about the job that Ahmed Okor has done all night long. Struggling with his jump shot, but do something else. Put your team in a position to win. He's guarding the best player perhaps in the world and doing a great job of containing.
One of the reasons why Greg Popovich knows that they can come back, he's that man at the line. As Parker will come into the game. Want to hear what the coaches and players have to say about tonight's game? Log on to NBA.com immediately following the game for live press conferences and video highlights of the Jazz and the Spurs Game 3 exclusively on NBA.com. Duncan goes 1 for 2.
Very interesting lineup Greg Popovich has on the floor. 2 point guards. He's got Parker and Vaughn on the court together.
Fisher gets it back from Okor. Derek Fisher, and a foul. Fisher struggling mightily through the first 2 games. Shooting just 2 of 16 from the field, now coming through big time.
Any day of the week, give me a proven guy, whether he's struggling or not. Derek Fisher, totally confident. He's been there before. Looking to be aggressive, knocking down the jumper, and that time coming off the motion and getting the basket with the foul.
Hits the free throw as we go to Lisa Salters.
Mike, earlier this week, Jerry Sloan somewhat called out Derek Fisher and Mehmet Okor about how they struggled in games 1 and 2. He said they've got to get themselves going. I can't run for them. I can't shoot for them. I can't defend. They've been playing long enough. They've got to get out of this themselves. And so far, it looks like Derek Fisher has responded. And Okor, though he struggled, he's giving a lot of attitude on the defensive end.
And Duncan, Lisa, just picked up his 5th foul. Another offensive foul for Tim Duncan. This crowd is delirious.
Duncan setting the screen and roll, trying to create some space for Tony Parker. That's a bad call. Duncan picking up his 5th foul, screening Derek Fisher.
Blocked by Duncan with 5 fouls, throws it right back at Boozer. His 2nd rejection of the game. Inside, Duncan hammered by Boozer. And Boozer picks up his 4th. Now with 7:16 remaining, 14-point lead, Greg Popovich really can't take him out right now.
Oh, I think he's made it the absolute correct call. If you take him out and the lead balloons, it doesn't matter if you can bring him back in. This is absolutely the right call, and he also trusts Duncan to know how to play with fouls.
Well, he trusts him, but also that last play, the block shot on Boozer, that was awfully close. If you're Greg Popovich, you don't want Duncan to put himself in that position.
Finley's going to come back in.
And now San Antonio has downsized. They're going to play 4 smalls and Duncan at the center. So Boozer's going to have to go on the perimeter to guard either Finley or Brent Barry.
Duncan, meanwhile, knocking down some free throws. He's 4 for 5. Excellent percentage for him. Fisher tried an alley-oop. Not a smart play. And the Jazz turn it over. Only their 11th of the game. Parker. And a reach-in foul. See if it's Okur or Harper. It's going to be against Okur, so he has 5 fouls. Okur still scoreless. Very slow and hoping for some offensive production, but Okur has done an excellent job defensively tonight.
He's competed, but I think the only thing that has really stopped Tim Duncan tonight is his own ball handling mistakes, and his rhythm was broken due to foul trouble.
I say give my guy in the middle court some credit. Defensively, he has stayed in front of Tim Duncan and made him work.
Parker to the rim. Blocked. Harper got a piece of it. Williams back. Karolinko, the extra pass, and Boozer knocks it down.
Unselfish basketball play, pushing the ball in transition. Karolinko with the extra pass to Boozer.
Jock Vaughn won't go down. Williams, oh, what a crossover! Darren Williams! Largest lead of the game. Boozer with the steal. Here come the Jazz.
Smart play by Darren Williams. Pull it out and get into a pick and roll situation. Eat clock right now.
Too early to run the shot clock down.
5 to shoot. Oh, nice pass. Boozer finishes.
And it's just great play and great read from Darren Williams. It's not about running the clock. It's about making the Spurs play defense.
The Jazz dominating in the second half. I will not over to Michelle Tafoya.
Well, 2 messages jumped out of the Spurs last time out. Greg Popovich pleaded with his team, it's up to you guys to make some stops. And then he said, let's play with some class now. Let's go. I don't think he likes the way his team is playing, guys.
Well, Michelle, they've been outscored 49-27 in the second half as Ginobili knocks that one down. Yeah, no surprise, Utah this good at home. 3rd best home record in the NBA during the regular season, 31-10, 6-0 at home in the playoffs. And trying to make it 7 straight, foul away from the ball. Going to be against Bruce Bowen, and Bowen hit with a technical foul. That's the first technical of this series. Fisher will shoot the technical. They're not in the penalty yet. Fisher, one of the veterans on this team, such an important leader. They've been struggling a couple of games, but coming up with some big plays here in the second half.
You know, the Spurs put a bigger defender in Bowen on Darren Williams. I can relate because in my career, I would have to deal with guys like Scottie Pippen and Kobe Bryant. Those guys were bigger and stronger, and I only had one gear. Darren Williams is a guy that does not affect because he can create airspace with his speed and strength.
Creating some space there. Shot, it's good. Williams putting on a show. 26 points, 8 assists, and 5 steals. Parker got hit in the head. A hard shot. Parker goes down. Tony Parker's shaken up. Obviously one concern. Spectator. As Parker's shaken up. He seems to be okay. Fisher picks up his 5th foul.
What I love is right away Derek Fisher walks over to Tony Parker and says, hey, you all right? Nothing intentional, just a solid play on the ball.
I don't think he said that at all. I think he said, don't come back in this lane again, my man.
I think he was trying to block the shot, and Parker instead passed him. That's why they shot in the face. Parker's had another terrific game offensively with 22 points, 7 assists. Fisher sits down. Meanwhile, Bruce Bowen is going to come out of the game. Dana Woodrick is going to come in. Woodrick has hardly played in the postseason. 4 total minutes. He was the backup point guard until this year Jacques Vaughn took over his spot.
And this is how deep San Antonio is. Udrih's the 3rd point guard. He could at least be a backup on most teams in this league and start for some others.
Williams, Boozer, inside, Harpering. Everything going the Utah Jazz's way.
Greg Popovich cannot be satisfied with the way that his team is defended. Known as a great team defensive group, they are struggling tonight.
And Parker draws another foul. He's amazing how he can get into the paint so easily. Deals with a lot of contact. In most cases, still gets off such a great shot.
Well, you're right. You saw Fisher's shot to his head, and now he drives it again. He's got strength that belies his body type. He can take contact, and he can still get quality shots up, and he's durable. He plays. He doesn't get up in the air and get hit and fall down and get injured and miss games. He plays, and he continues to attack. Nothing deters him.
Popovich said that's one thing, right? When he first started as a 19-year-old point guard for this team, he was always tough, never afraid of contact. Where he's changed his game now. He's not just a scorer. He knows when to distribute. Become one of the best point guards in the league, but his team is down by 17 right now, and he's facing one of the best young point guards. Williams again. Ginobili. And a foul. Giricek hit him before Ginobili pushed off. Ginobili clearly cleared some space, but it looked like he got bumped first.
I'll tell you what, there's no better stage than advancing into the playoffs when more people watch. The world is beginning to embrace and recognize just how good Darren Williams is as a point guard and as a player in this league.
Well, the Jazz knew he was going to be good. You see all these people who did not get tickets. It's right outside the arena watching a big screen as Ginobili hits the first. Williams was the 3rd overall selection. They traded 3 picks to move up to the 3rd spot. They were in desperate need of a point guard. They thought about drafting Chris Paul. Chris Paul would have been a great addition, but they felt Williams was their guy. He likes to say he's been underrated his whole life. They obviously didn't underrate him picking him number 3.
And Kevin O'Connor, their general manager, said the reason Jerry Sloan liked him was because he plays low to the ground. He doesn't get up in the air until he's right at the basket.
Much like another point guard from the Jazz, John Stockton. One of the reasons why he never got hurt. There's Kevin O'Connor. Done a great job with a team that Williams was their first lottery pick in years because they were so good every year they never win the lottery.
I like the fact that he's a tough kid. Playing for Jerry Sloan, playing for the Utah Jazz, it's a tough situation, but he's a guy that's able to handle it.
And those were the first 4 picks in the draft a couple of years ago.
I'm Kevin O'Connor. That's all I put on my resume. Forget anything else. I drafted Darren Williams.
Williams trying to find some space. Nice feed to Boozer. And he got fouled.
The same problems that the Utah Jazz had defending Tony Parker in the pick and roll the first 2 games. Now it is the Spurs with the problem. How do you handle Darren Williams in pick and roll situations, coming off multiple times and then threading the needle, finding Boozer in traffic, creating the contact?
He always has to deal Williams as Boozer goes to the line with the Stockton comparisons. Williams says he's been asked in the thousands. But Jerry Sloan says that this guy, he's got the right attitude and not have to deal with John Stockton and trying to make himself like Stockton. Although in training camp before the season, he always goes to Stockton's house for a little mini camp and learns from the legendary point guard.
And I agree with that. Don't answer that question. You're talking about one of the best to ever do it. Not just at the point guard position, but as a basketball player. No sense in comparing yourself to John Stockton. Work on being the best Darren Williams that you could be.
Woodrick out to Vaughn. Matt Bonner's come in. As Greg Popovich has waved the white flag.
John Stockton might want to open up enrollment to others and make a few bucks, because if this is the product, a lot of people want to go to that school.
Williams had a nice rookie year, but he has catapulted himself into a great player. Has a three! Darren Williams! What a performance! A dazzling display. Offensive foul. And Williams is shaken up. And obviously, the fans and everyone with the Jazz concerned. Gary Briggs quickly runs out, the head athletic trainer. Let's see. That's just a hard screen set by Bonner. Got him in obviously a sensitive area. He deserves a little extra rest. The timeout is called.
Well, you hope it's not on that shooting shoulder, which could be problematic going into game 4.
Bonner with a solid screen. As a former boxer, the wind was taken out of Darren Williams. Good to see him get up, though.
Slowly, but he's up. And obviously hurting. That was not a dirty foul.
It's a good old-fashioned back screen. Hit in the wrong spot, and Darren Williams went out. But that's just a good screen by Bonner. Got called with the foul.
I wonder if it's just by the sudden jolt, maybe his neck snapped a little bit. He's a little woozy. Well, what a brilliant performance from Darren Williams.
If you're the Jazz, the mindset has to be close this out and begin to think about finishing up game 4. Continue where you left off.
Harper. The bench has done an excellent job for Utah for the first time this series.
No one scores on San Antonio as easily as Utah has over the final 3 quarters.
Nelson. It's amazing. And Jeff, you've been through this throughout your coaching career. Mark, same thing with you all the years you've played. How one game changes the complete perception of a playoff series.
But I think this gives San Antonio their best chance to win game 4. Greg Popovich is going to have San Antonio's full attention by getting blown out. If they would have lost close, I think Utah would have had a better chance of winning game 4.
I think this does a great job of boosting the confidence of a young Utah Jazz basketball team. A guy like Darren Williams already confident. Carlos Brewer already confident. But the role players, the intangibles, the guys that really came up big, it's really going to affect them going into game 4.
Offensive foul. And a timeout. Two terrific young players. It used to be Stockton and Malone. It's now Williams
has caught up.
Jerry Sloan has to be thrilled with the way they've reacted. They were down by 4 at halftime, but have completely dominated the second half. Fisher deflects it out of bounds. Spurs, by the way, with this loss, they've never won a playoff game here in Utah. Now 0-9. Obviously, it's not the same players, as these teams have faced each other 3 times previous in the playoffs, all in the 90s, all Jazz victories. Millsap, the deflection. Fisher close to a backcourt. D. Brown gets it inside. Ball knocked loose. And a whistle and a foul, as both teams have emptied their benches. Ronnie Brewer, the rookie from Arkansas, will go to the line. Brewer's dad played in the NBA for a number of years. Getting a little postseason action in the blowout game. Well, what an impressive performance. Boozer and Williams just superb. Been an important week for them. Not only the big game here, but earlier this week announced that they've been invited to camp for Team USA for the Olympic qualifying this summer. A nice honor for those 2 young players.
I'm the people in charge. I just don't invite Darren Williams. You're on the team, so just show up.
Sir, you're calling him sir. And a foul. Rafael Arujo.
Well, if you're going to put someone on, you got to take someone off. Who are you taking off?
I don't care. Pick straws, fellas. This young guy deserves to be on the team. No question about it. You're talking about the best to represent this country. This young man should be waving a flag.
It looks to be okay after taking that hard hit on the pick. And Zach Bowen misses the first free throw. Let's send it over to Lisa.
Well, Mike, I just talked to the Jazz trainer, Gary Briggs, and he said that Darren Williams suffered a stinger to the right side of his neck. It looks like that if he had to cut back into the game, he could, but obviously no need to do so now. He's got ice on it now. They were checking the strength in the hand. He looks like he'll be good to go for the next game.
All right, Lisa. Just an unbelievable performance from the two young stars. So they had a number of other players pick up their game. Brewer gets it inside, draws the foul. Matt Harpring, Derek Fisher playing well. Getting some bench play. Right now, the carryover of this game going into game 4, which is right back here on Monday night. Most often in playoff series, each game takes on a life of its own. Any carryover at all?
Like I said, I think it's got San Antonio's attention. Sometimes when you win as easily as they did in the first 2 games, subconsciously, you do have a letdown and a let up. And yet, I think for Utah, they have to feel good about themselves, but realize, really, it doesn't mean anything unless they win game 4.
And the Jazz have to realize that they are facing a great team that's going to make a bunch of adjustments coming back for game 4. If you're the Jazz, you have to realize, what did we do in order to get a blowout victory? And continue to do those things in game 4.
Certainly a big part of it was the foul trouble for Tim Duncan. Duncan played just 27 minutes. Had 5 fouls after the blowout. Greg Popovich taking them out. Millsap, nice extra pass. And Brewer dunks it in to put an exclamation point on this one.
And the headlines are going to be Darren Williams and Carlos Boozer. But it's been about the other guys in the Jazz uniform that have made the difference in this ballgame.
Udrich, stolen by Brewer.
Brewer has exceptionally long arms and quick hands and really had a good year, even though he didn't get the chance to play very much.
Much deserved standing ovation. They've been on their feet much of the second half. Fisher. Araujo got hit. And the crowd with a little extra time to celebrate what was a very impressive performance.
And I'm not trying to change all the rules in basketball, so bear with me here.
Here we go.
But I really do think we should think about adding a 7th foul. Why do you want your best players? It doesn't happen in any other sport. A guy holds 3 times in football on the offensive line. Does he have to go sit on the sidelines? No. So let's add a 7th foul. We want to see the stars play. Give them an extra foul.
I think part of learning discipline to stay out of foul trouble is a big part of the game.
Can we get this guy a job? He has too much free time, man.
7 fouls.
Utah shooting 64% from the field in the second half.
You're too old school for me. You're not a progressive thinker.
You don't talk to Mike like that.
Ball knocked out of bounds with 15.1 remaining. And the Jazz certainly enjoying this one. What a turnaround performance. Even though they got whacked early in games, they still kept their confidence up, but you never know how a young team's going to respond. They certainly did as Bonner misses. Araujo the rebound. And the Utah Jazz with a dominant second half take game 3.